How do you feel about the education system now?
I feel like students have to be a little bit more motivated to study their different subjects and realize how important this is for their life, their life's work, and that it's not a time to fool around, it's time to get serious and learn basic skills and all the subjects they had in grade school, and just to kind of, think about the real world's not that far away.
Joe, how do you feel about the education system now?
Well, in regards to the public education system, I believe that there is a lot of work that needs to be done, because personally, I work with a bunch of people that go to the Quakertown High School, and one of the main things there is they don't have to do homework, and I feel like that really affects the students' attitudes towards their school and their studies in a totally negative way, and I believe that is one part of their system in particular that needs to be fixed and is totally flawed.
How well do you think the U.S. is scoring in math and science versus the other countries?
I feel that math and science the United States excels in, personally, but there are other countries that are just as well. I feel like in Asia, like Japan and China, but since we are like a first world country, that we do a lot better than most countries because we have the resources to help the kids.
Who would you say we do better than?
Angola.
Okay.
I feel like we do better than like Europe, Africa, mostly almost all the countries except for like a few, like in Japan, like Tokyo, where they have the resources to also the technology we have.
Joe, do you have any input?
Anywhere basically that school is an innate part of their culture, primarily South Korea. I know, reading up on it, there's like a huge psychological thing that goes along in the school. You do well in school, it's your life. So I believe when they treat it that way, then they're going to do better than us. But in regards to like third world countries, of course.
Please, would you believe me if I told you that the U.S. was actually 26th in the globe? And we are actually lower than Scandinavian countries and most European countries as well.
I guess I could see that.
Nobody likes Scandinavia anyway.
How well do you think the U.S. is scoring in math and science versus other countries?
To be honest, probably on the decline. Not doing that well.
I mean, as opposed to the top countries, I'd say we're in the top countries, but I wouldn't say we're like close to being number one. I mean, we're better than a substantial amount of countries.
Who would you say we're better than?
I mean, like
The poor ones.
yeah. I mean, I would say who we're not better than would probably be like some Asian countries. Probably, I don't know, maybe countries in England, that area, Germany.
Okay, how do you think schools in the U.S. are doing compared to schools in other countries?
Depends what country you're talking about. If you're talking about like a third world country, pretty much we look like Yale for children. But if you're talking about something like from Europe, we look dumb, and especially Asia. They beat us in that one.
Yeah, like India, Japan, China, all of Europe, they're definitely turning out more like college degrees
It's like a sweatshop in there, I'm sure.
than America.
Is that offensive? Am I allowed to say that? Okay, you're good.
I apologize. It's better.
You can't.
Why do you think enrollment is declining in Catholic schools?
Tuition.
Why?
I mean, it's kind of obvious. Our economy isn't exactly really huge right now, and people really can't afford to pay for the Catholic education that they want.
Yeah, because like the big difference is with the public, like we have pretty much the same not the same resources, like they have more money than we do, but like to be paying for it, like going above, like we would have to be more than just the religion, because it's more of like a weighting thing, like how much is that really worth to a lot of people now. Like you would have to be like excelling in like the technology and resources to have that money be worth it, I feel like.
Do you feel that as somebody who's in a poor part of the country, like should able to have that chance of going to a better school that needs a tuition such as LC? Like, I feel that we do better than the public schools around here because we're closer. But do you think somebody else who doesn't have that money to go here have that chance?
Oh yes, of course.
I think they should definitely have the chance, like a chance to like test and like get help. Because I know a lot of people that can't afford it, and I know are smarter than kids here, so they definitely deserve that chance.
How about kids who aren't Catholic who have to pay extra money to come here and then pay the church fee of their own church, so they have to pay extra?
I think that's pointless.
Yeah, it's just another way to leech out money.
Why do you think enrollment is declining in Catholic schools?
One obvious reason would be money, the economy.
Yeah, you have a lot of inner city kids that probably can't afford to go to their Catholic schools, so they have to go to their public schools, so maybe that's why. I mean, the city's growing. So, and I also think that, like, kids just like public school more. They just don't like the uniforms, like, it's all small stuff like that probably adds in more to it.
Do you think that the inner city public schools are good, or?
Compared to some of the more suburban ones, I would have to say probably not as good. But I mean, I'm not saying they're bad or anything. Just probably compared to suburban ones, probably not as good.
Yeah, I would assume more of them are undisciplined. They lack it, so probably.
You guys obviously got friends in other public schools.
Yeah.
Do you think their school system is as good as a Catholic school system?
It depends. I think in the public schools, if you're really smart, it's good for you because they have so many more advanced programs. But I think if you're more of an average student in public school, you'll just get lost.
So you feel like if you're an average student, you can go through here and still do pretty well and be ready for college?
Yes.
Thank you.
Alright. Why do you think enrollment is declining besides the economy?
I think enrollment is declining in Catholic schools. I think the main reason is the economy, but I also think that there's a misperception that public schools have so much more to offer. And I don't know that that's always true. I mean, they might have nicer facilities sometimes, but I think actually sometimes different students need different things. And I think parents are thinking that they just, because they offer some more electives or something like that, that it might make for a better education. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Where do you think Catholic schools will be 10 years from now?
Well, that'll all depend on what the Common Core State Standard Initiative will do. And you could, because all the states will be learning the same, or all schools will be learning the same thing. It could wipe out Catholic schools or possibly even
Private schools?
Private schools. And I wonder where this will put us and how we're going in just a big circle.
Yeah, I feel that there won't be that many Catholic schools. Like archdiocese will be, there won't be any archdioceses really. There'll be maybe one or two with a few schools, but not a lot of schools. Because I can see charter schools becoming more popular, and public schools will be on the decline. Charter schools will be up there, and there'll be different forms of it, and there won't be really that much that Catholic schools can go against.
And the government could possibly take control. They don't have a role in education right now. They could possibly control what everybody learns instead of having a state standard. Where do you think Catholic schools will be in 10 years from now?
I think they're going to be drastically changed. I think they will either be more self-autonomous, where they will be almost more like academies, or if they are still a system, they will be developed into certain specialty schools, almost like magnet schools maybe. Not all of them, because location-wise, somebody from Philadelphia is not going to drive all the way up here, for a certain school necessarily, but I think in certain regions there might be a school that focuses more on the arts, or a school that focuses more on the sciences.
Do you think the Common Core State Standards will have an impact on it?
I'm not sure. I think that more schools will make sure that they're not offering just kind of superfluous electives. I think they're going to make sure that they offer electives that meet the standards. So I think it's going to cut down on basket weaving and some electives that might not really be very helpful.
Will you guys send your kids to Catholic schools?
I personally wouldn't, because I'm not Catholic and I don't want to pay a ridiculous amount of money to have them come here. And I think it's the same thing as public school except for one class, and values, of course.
I love Catholic school, but I don't think I'd send my kids here, or Catholic school in general, just because they have more opportunities in a public school rather than here. We are forced to take religion because we are a Catholic school, but if they weren't forced to, they'd have more things to learn that maybe interest them, and I will set them up for college.
And maybe enrollment too.
Do you send your kids to public school?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
It's free.
It's free, and the education you get is mediocre at best.
I don't really have enough information to compare public versus private schools and their
Well, compared to like
education.
a charter school.
Okay, my
Which
kids
is also
probably will
free.
not be smart
Well, you see, I have
enough
a friend that goes to a charter school, and it's basically just like kids that have gotten expelled out of every other school. So charter schools are just like private, like public schools, but like trying to go under another name.
like alternative schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard charter schools are like for smart kids. I can
But they're
guarantee
not.
my kids will not be in there.
I'm smart, unlike other people in my school. So I'm
Okay,
expecting
wait,
my
were we
kids to be
talking about your
as
kids?
equally smart as me.
Are we talking about your kids?
How would you improve the Catholic school system and the curriculum?
We could improve the curriculum by having like more classes that kids would actually like want to take, and that would like help them like in their jobs that they want to do.
And I know like at LC there's a lot of business electives and stuff, so I think that we should like open up our priorities and like do different electives, because not that many people like want to major in business anymore. Like I personally don't, so I think if like we just have more like unique electives, we could stand out and compare to the public school.
What electives would you suggest?
I don't know, just like things like this modern education class, like things for people who like want to be teachers, or like something other than business. Like maybe ask the students what kind of electives they would like to see, because they're the ones that are receiving education, so they should sort of have a say of like what electives we offer.
Right. You want like more? You want kids to like have more control over the schedules?
Yeah, I think that it's pretty important that the kids do, because like I said, they're the ones that are like receiving from like whatever the teachers are giving out. So like I think that if the kids have more like control over it, then they'll actually like their classes and want to try hard and like get good grades in them.
Alright. Yeah. Yeah. How would you improve the Catholic school system and the curriculum?
I think if our students are going to be competitive in the college admission process, especially, that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I'd like to see us actually build into the freshman or the sophomore year, maybe just a one-quarter course in like SAT preparation or standardized test preparation, because I think our students are very good students, but they don't really prove it a lot of times through the SAT. So I think that we might need to develop more strategies with them, and so I would like to offer that instead of having to have students take a course for several $100s. Maybe we could build it into like one quarter they would take writing, one quarter they would take this standardized test preparation, and then they could do the music and the computers maybe. So have each of those be maybe one quarter of the year instead of a half.
Could like, I know Mrs. Templeton in the beginning of the year she gave us a SAT test, practice test, and she went over that. Would that be kind of what you're talking about?
Yes, but actually like a full-blown course where you would actually even get a grade in it maybe. You know what I mean? Like learning some of the techniques.
I know like the stuff in the SAT, I took the course sophomore year, I had no idea what was on it, like the math and everything. So should you offer like higher math courses earlier in the year?
That could happen too. Actually, the state of Pennsylvania is going to move to having Algebra 1 in 8th grade for everyone. And so actually we'll kind of naturally, as a result of that, move up to higher level math. So much so that most of the students will have calculus.
That's good.
Hey, Jet!